God's really touched my heart, exposed things in my spirit and soul that I've never really knew I was carrying, and I was able to get freedom through identifying those things and repenting from them. It's just been amazing. And to see my son 7 or 8 years after I got freedom from fear of man, for him to walk out in the same words, I go, that's a generational iniquity being broken. And so for me, that's so powerful. Hi, I'm Fred. I live in Montana. Well, it's really remarkable, amazing, miraculous. My wife and 2 younger kids moved out here about 12 years ago, and they kind of got plugged into the ministry, and as far as receiving from it. And my kids started going to Overcomers Academy when it started, much younger, and to see the transformation in both my younger kids, but more specifically my son, who was with me at a For My Life retreat about a month ago, and to see him get freed from things, rejection, abandonment, fear of man. And I already know the kind of man he's becoming in serving the Lord, but to see him get more freedom to minister. And even this weekend called me to say he was up till 3 a.m, helping people that don't understand the principles here get free because of how he can minister to them, and self-pity and unloving. And these are people that never heard about being health, but he's able to bring that through his experience, and how God's using him. As a dad, it makes you exciting, especially to hear that on Father's Day. I come here off and on to visit the kids, spent time here, gotten to know the people in the ministry and in the church, and every time I come here, I feel like I'm loved. I feel like I'm part of a family, so it makes it easy to come back. About 7 years ago, I kind of got busy with life and didn't come here often until about a year ago. I came to a retreat and realized I needed to come back more, and that's when I brought my son with me again. And he's the one that really wanted to come because he's got friends and he knows people here. Now he's here as an adult. And my daughter, who's about to turn 18, wants to come back and spend time here. And we're looking at, again, planting roots. We had a home here before, but now looking at doing something more permanent because this place is special. For me personally, I've received so much deliverance, healing. God's really touched my heart, exposed things in my spirit and soul that I've never really knew I was carrying, and I was able to get freedom through identifying those things and repenting from them. It's just been amazing. And to see my son 7 or 8 years after I got freedom from fear of man, for him to walk out in the same words, that's a generational iniquity being broken. And so for me, that's so powerful. When I was here just this last week, or a month ago, I got amazing freedom and basically cured of allergies. I was really just, I was not coming out of agreement with those things that I'd repented for in the past, and I just rebuked the enemy and went home, mowed the lawn, raked pine needles, pine dust all over the place, and going, man, this is amazing. And I was kind of testing the waters on that, but it turned out to be, God's faithful, and I just saw that firsthand in my life in that area. And then, other areas where I was really false burden bearing, where I was, even projecting as a father into my kids, trying to take on responsibility for their lives. There's so much freedom in that, and it's manifested in other areas. And then finally, the biggest thing was really just learning how to delight myself in the Lord, which is really waiting and resting in Him. God was speaking to me that whole week I was here in May, and now I see the fruition, see the witness from even watching church online a week ago, seeing everybody testify to how God's speaking to them to rest and wait and let God lead them. And there's so much freedom in that for me, because I'm the kind of guy that gets and runs ahead of God. And I don't feel that compulsion to do it anymore. I just can kind of rest. And the peace that comes with that is remarkable. So delighting myself in the Lord in that new way, and knowing that He's even given me new desires for my heart, and I see Him fulfilling those, it's just, I'm just overjoyed. So Be in Health has been an amazing ministry, but it's about the people that serve here, and it's loving, and I've never felt really so much love. And even in all the churches where I felt connected, this is special, and I'm just grateful to be a part of it. I have the original Henry Wright, More Excellent Way, the old paperback. And so some friends from church had that. They were kind of like spiritual big brother and sister to me. And they talked about it at that time, and just put it on the shelf. And it was really that kind of got refreshed through some, relationship challenges in my marriage. And somebody else at our church brought that forward, totally separate of any prior knowledge I had of it, to my wife at the time, and she wanted to come down here, so she came down with the kids and lived here a couple of years, and I ended up buying a house for them to stay in down here. And so that was kind of how it got triggered. But you know, if you're not involved with something directly, you know, you have the natural suspicions, especially as a father. You know, you want to come in and make sure your family's in a safe place. So I purposed to come down and got involved, volunteered at Overcomers Academy, volunteered with the For My Life Kids program in the summers, and got to know some of the people. And the teaching is, it iteratively resonates in your mind and spirit. It's like it just keeps getting more and more true, you know. And really, it's just the Word, you know. And that's what's special about this place. It's nothing more than people lovingly sharing the Word with testimony, and it's powerful. So that's what brought me to the place and has kept me involved here. Absolutely. I mean, the first one that really struck me was the Father's love. Understanding how much I'm loved. And then the teaching on, I'm honestly kind of blanking on which specific teaching it was, but really got me freedom from guilt and shame and condemnation, the accusing spirit, you know, understanding that I was just partnering with the enemy and accusing myself, and I didn't have the freedom to get out of it, and that shame kept me in prison. And understanding that was then so spirit world realities that really spoke to me, to understand that the things I was hearing, the things I was seeing, the people that were speaking to my life critically, that's the enemy. And it gave me the freedom too to love them unconditionally, which isn't always easy to do, to walk in forgiveness and walk in grace with others, you know, knowing that I'd want this. So all those things. So it's really the Father's love, and then getting freedom in those areas. Now I could start to walk out. You know, we use that terminology, but it's really maybe run out for me. When I see something I want, I run for it. So, but we should call it Run Out Week. Yeah. So, but that's it. Yeah. As a father, and knowing godly order and how fathers should lead, and the need to cover and protect your wife and children, I would encourage fathers to come. Don't wait for your wives to tell you to come. You know, if that's what it takes, and you want to please your wife and come. But just come down. I think the family weeks are amazing. That's kind of why I got my first introduction, being able to be with my kids in the Family Life Kids, For My Life Kids, and to see my son. I think it was after 2 years, get total freedom through the ministry that occurred here with him. The sensitive, caring, non-judgmental, you know, just time to let him when he was 10, 12 years old, really kind of have that epiphany where he really saw God, and it restored his relationship with his mom, which was powerful for me. And that's honestly what I was looking for at the time, was for him, because that was not a healthy thing. And I see him, how he loves his mom and how he loves other people. And that was really, so what should you look for? Why should you come? Because your family's going to get changed. And it's going to be really about serving the Lord, and their hearts are going to be changed. They're going to get freedom, you know. And it's like going back to the scripture about, you know, delighting yourself in the Lord. It's like you don't really have the motivation to do that until you know how much you're loved. So that's, for me, critical, you know, important to understand. And that's all here. I think the thing people need to know is, you know, it's not one-stop shopping, you know. If that was the case, we'd get prayed for, healed, and walk away, and we're all good. But we're humans, and that's where the grace comes in, to kind of walk things out with people, be able to learn to love with other people, but keep coming back. I mean, that was what I kind of received when I was here a year ago. I got to come back, and I need more, and I want more. And I think that's where, you know, the desire of your heart that's the blessing of God.